13th BRICS Summit has been held as a virtual event bringing together leaders of Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa. It touched on implementing the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, as well as the BRICS leaders' New Delhi Declaration. Chinese President Xi Jinping announced that China will donate 100 million more doses of COVID vaccines to developing countries within this year. Wang Suwen has the story.
Cooperation for over 15 years. The 13th BRICS Summit was held in a virtual format for the second time due to the coronavirus pandemic. India hosted this year's summit and focused on BRICS cooperation for continuity, consolidation, and consensus. Saying the 5 countries have forged ahead on a common journey of development, Chinese President Xi Jinping pointed out the BRICS nations have become an important force.
Over the past 15 years, our 5 countries have enhanced strategic communication and political trust in the spirit of openness, inclusiveness, and equality, respected each other's social system and development path, and explored a sound way for countries to interact with each other.
Xi made 5 proposals for BRICS practical cooperation on public health, vaccines, economy, political and security, and people-to-people exchanges.
Facing the COVID-19 pandemic, global uncertainties, international and regional health issues, global economic recovery is at a crucial moment. Chinese President Xi Jinping attends the summit and delivers a speech calling building of a community with a shared future for mankind, painting the blueprint for BRICS cooperation, leading the global cooperation of fighting COVID-19, pointing direction for global economic recovery. It has showed China's openness and inclusiveness and the idea of mutual benefit, pointing out the direction for BRICS cooperation.
While addressing the summit, Xi announced that China will donate 100 million more doses of COVID-19 vaccines to developing countries by the end of 2021, along with a donation of $100 million to COVAX. She also called for more international cooperation on vaccines. This year marks 15th anniversary of BRICS Summit. Countries promise to work closer together to fight COVID and to bring about global economic recovery. Next year, China will host the BRICS Summit for the second time, so there will be a lot of expectations from here. Wang Siwen, CGTN.
During the BRICS Summit, Chinese President Xi Jinping called for the member countries to stay resolute and to strengthen unity. He made 5 proposals for pragmatic cooperation. First, solidarity is highlighted in public health cooperation. Xi Jinping encouraged joint research and mutual recognition of standards. Second, vaccine distribution should equitably accessible for all. Xi Jinping presented China's efforts in the global vaccine supply. Third, for economic cooperation focusing on mutual benefits. Xi Jinping stressed such areas as trade and investment, technology and innovation, and green and low-carbon development. Fourth, strengthening political and security cooperation in a spirit of fairness and justice. Xi Jinping urged implementation of the bloc's counter-terrorism plan. And finally, learning from each other through people-to-people exchanges. The Chinese president suggests building a platform for vocational education. For more on this summit, let's cross live to our correspondent Ravinder Bawa in Delhi. Hello, Ravinder. Tell us more about remarks from other countries' leaders.
Well, it was an important summit because it was the 15th anniversary of this particular forum, and this grouping once again reiterated that they want to cooperate and consolidate the relationship for the next 15 years. As Mr. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who was chairing the summit, said clearly that in the next 15 years, this grouping should achieve much more, and it has already achieved a lot. If we look at the issues which were discussed, of course, COVID-19 was one of the important issues in which these countries have cooperated to fight the pandemic. Apart from that, issues like people-to-people contact, also technology and trade. Trade is also one of the important issues because these countries have been, trading, focusing on increasing investment and trade in this region. But the most important point, which everybody was guessing that this will be something that will be discussed, was Afghanistan, the situation in Afghanistan, because it impacts the countries like India, China, and also Russia. And so it was important to listen to these leaders, as the Russian president clearly stated that there should be a peaceful resolution. The Afghanistani people should be able to live in peace, and there should be no violence. So these countries actually discussed that, and it was resolved, or it was finally decided that it is very important that human rights should be maintained in Afghanistan, and Afghanistan should not be used as a terror sanctuary. And that is something this grouping has been reiterating from the beginning, that they stand for counter-terrorism techniques. They want to not use these countries like Pakistan and Afghanistan to be used as safe havens or territories or sanctuaries of spreading terrorism in the region, because peace in the region is very important for progress of people. And that is something, again, these leaders talked about, that it is about improving the lives and livelihoods of people, that this grouping has come together. And once, for the first time, we really saw that this grouping has agreed, and there is a consensus on reforming multilateral organizations like UN and IMF, International Monetary Fund. So all these issues were discussed. Of course, it now is all about implementing what has been chalked down on paper, but definitely the way forward is that this grouping is only going to improve and progress together, so that there is improvement in the lives of people. Pandang.
Thank you very much, our correspondent Ravinder Bawa in Delhi.